Thanks for making time for today's masterclass today. It's really not going to be a very long masterclass. We're very excited to share something that we've been working over the last couple of, I should say, actually 2 to 3 years. A lot of you would have heard me talk about apple cider vinegar. You would have heard me talk about walking for 10 minutes after your meals. There's a reason why we've been doing this in fragments, because we've been testing this model on groups of patients around the world. People, patients, ourselves, our team, just to figure out how we can put it together in a flow. So while a lot of people say apple cider vinegar helps you to lose weight, not really directly, but indirectly, absolutely yes. It also helps you with your gut, with so many things. So we put this into a flow because, like you, myself as well, when I travel, okay, sometimes we don't really get the food that we want to eat, okay, or we're on a holiday and we don't want to diet, or we're going out for a dinner, or we're going out to a friend's place. We don't want to be so stuck up about the food that we eat all the time. So what if we're in a situation where we have food in front of us? It's not the best choice. It's not cooked by us. Maybe it's got refined oil. That's all okay. How can I still make it better? By changing the flow, by eating in a particular way. And today, you're going to understand why we put this flow together and how amazing it is, whether you have a condition or not, whether you're looking at prevention, works powerfully for people with diabetes, insulin resistance. We use it for our cancer patients as well, because digestion becomes an issue. Blood sugar levels should be controlled. So basically, it's a way of living. We all like flows. I like a flow. I like a morning flow. If my morning routine flow is broken, I don't feel so good. You know, if my night routine flow just before bedtime is broken, I don't feel good. You know, we're all, as human beings, we're all in a state of flow. Okay. The moment that flow is hit with resistance, okay, that's when we have turmoil, chaos, negativity, anger, reaction. So let's say, for example, you woke up this morning and everything's going well for you. You're flowing with the day, and all of a sudden something hits you unexpectedly, like an email or bad news, or someone did something that they're not supposed to do. Now, all of a sudden, this flow is broken. And all of a sudden, from that beautiful flow that you were moving in, there's chaos, there's reaction, there's resentment, there's anger. Likewise in traffic, when the traffic's flowing smoothly, you reach home on time. When there's a disruption in traffic, the flow is broken and now you're late, your dinner's late, your TV time's late, your bedtime's late. So none of us like the flow to be broken. But flow is something that is natural to us. Let's move that inside of the human body. Your blood has a flow. It's called blood flow. What happens when there's a blockage? We have a problem, right? Whether the blockage is towards the brain or towards the heart, we have a problem. So life is in a state of flow. While there will always be obstacles inside of the body and outside of us, we find a way over, under, between, through. We find a way through. Life's full of struggles and everything else. So this You Care lifestyle flow that we put out, why You Care? What is You Care? You Care is not a brand. You Care is all about you. You Care is a community that encourages you to focus on you, not in a selfish way. If I want to be the best at what I do, every single morning, I have to nourish myself. I have to calm myself down, be mindful, eat, prepare myself to be my best if I want to give myself to my patients and everyone else. The same thing as a parent. Okay, if you want to be there for your kid, you first need to nourish you. You can't be a sick parent. Okay, of course, there are a lot of sick parents for various reasons. But if we're sick because of our poor lifestyle, how can we really be there for our kids? So all of us owe it to ourselves. So You Care is a community, and that's why we've used the word You Care lifestyle flow. No matter where I am in the world, I could be in New York, I could be in Orissa, doesn't matter. I can still follow the flow. I don't need a gym, I don't need a kitchen, I don't need a diet plan, none of that. It's a way of living. Like there's a flow in spirituality, there's a flow in meditation. So we're going to send you the document that we made. You can read it, you can forward it to your friends, you can use it, take printouts, put it up in your kitchen, wherever it is. A morning ritual. It starts off with a simple morning ritual. I want you to build that. What's the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning? Because the way your day starts depends on that first 1 hour. If I wake up in the morning, switch on my phone, get pulled into WhatsApp messages, emails, bad news, my mind starts thinking that way. And we all know the way that we feel is dependent on the thoughts that we have. So what we would try to do in a morning ritual, I'm going to tell you my morning ritual and I want you to build yours. It doesn't have to be mine. So for me, no phones on for at least 1 hour. The moment I wake up, I connect with natural light. Right now, I'm in Mumbai, so I don't have the luxury of stepping out of my apartment into nature. I could do that when I was in Goa. I could do that when I was in New York, but I can still do something. I open the window and I step onto the balcony, or I just look out at natural light. Doesn't have to be the sun, could be natural blue light. I'll connect with natural light to reset my melatonin levels for the next 12 hours, which is going to help me to put me to sleep. So I do 5 minutes of that. Then I do a 10-minute yoga flow. Just few asanas to open up my body, followed by 10 minutes of deep breathing exercises, followed by 10 minutes of meditation. If I have the luxury of time, sometimes I do a 1 hour yoga, followed by 15 minutes and 15 minutes. It's up to me and up to the time that I have. And then after that, I actually do my morning routine, the bathroom routine before I do my yoga. I prefer to do it on a clean stomach. Okay, I don't eat, I don't drink water until I finish my yoga, and then it's 1 hour. I'm ready to start my day. So I may sit down, spend some time with the family, and then study all of my client cases that I have for the day. Now I'm prepared to now move to my clinic and start my day. That's my morning ritual. Okay, but I have a ritual, I have a routine. Now let's come to the most important part of the UK lifestyle routine, which is how are we going to eat our food? Okay, I start off with 30 minutes. Whatever I'm speaking is in the document, so you don't have to make notes. 30 minutes before my meal, I'm going to have a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a mug of water, 200 to 250 to 300 ml of water. Okay, I'm going to give you the science behind it. Now, since I want to enhance health in that 1 mug of water, I'm going to add a pinch of dry ginger powder, a pinch of clove powder, and a pinch of Ceylon rolled or Sri Lankan rolled cinnamon powder. So I got little bottles of organic spice powder, which everyone should have in their kitchen. Okay, now this is optional. Why am I adding the spices to my cup of water with apple cider vinegar? Anti-inflammatory. These 3 spices are great for your brain health, cognitive health. I don't have the luxury of having concoctions throughout the day. And plus, I probably have just 2 or 2.5 meals in a day. And I don't believe in snacking or drinking in between my meals. Water, yes, maybe green tea. So I'm trying to enhance my health in 1 mug of water. 30 minutes before my meal, I have this. It's optional. If the spices don't suit you, just do the apple cider vinegar and water. If apple cider vinegar doesn't suit you, that's also okay. You can use rice vinegar. You can use wine vinegar. Now, let's say vinegar doesn't suit you at all. That's okay. You can skip to step 2, which we're going to come to. Now, the reason why I'm having the apple cider vinegar 30 minutes before my meal, number 1, it works as a prebiotic. Number 2, it stimulates stomach acid, which will further help me to digest and break down my food efficiently. Most people who have acidity don't really have excess acid. They actually have low stomach acid. And apple cider vinegar helps you to stimulate that stomach acid for better digestion. A lot of people eat protein and they keep on burping, or they have fat and they can't digest it because we don't have the right amount of acid to break it down. So if it suits you, do this. Now, what if you're traveling? Well, I traveled to the Maldives for 6 days on work and on leisure. I carried a bottle of apple cider vinegar. It's as simple as that. I never thought I would be the person to carry a bottle of apple cider vinegar with me, but I did it because it makes me feel so good, especially when I'm eating outside food. Now, a lot of people ask, Luke, can I take an apple cider vinegar capsule? My answer is yes. It's not going to be as effective as the apple cider vinegar liquid with the mother culture, but something better than nothing. So if you can, you get small little bottles. If I'm traveling for 6 days, I need 12 tablespoons if I'm going to use it before each main meal, which is 2 meals in a day. So I calculate it's a small bottle. A lot of people carry shampoos and everything else. So I'm carrying apple cider vinegar now. So now I finish this 30 minutes before my meal. I have a plate of food in front of me. The flow is where the science is. And I'm going to explain all the science with the ACV and the flow. Now, the first thing that goes into my system are my raws. So if I have a salad, I'm going to first eat my salad. Now, just in case you can't have the apple cider vinegar in your water, I can also mix it and make a salad dressing. My favorite salad dressing is ACV with lemon and a little bit of, sometimes mustard, sometimes a tablespoon of raw honey. You can make different dressings, and we'll give you recipes for that. That's already in the PDF document. So if I can't drink the apple cider vinegar because I don't like the smell, I don't like the taste, I can make a salad dressing. The raw first goes into my system. After the raw will go my cooked vegetables. Let's say in case I don't have raw vegetables or raw salad because I have colitis or I have some extreme gut issues where I'm not supposed to eat raw, I will start first with my cooked vegetables. After my cooked vegetables, I will then eat my protein. So if it's non-vegetarian, I'll have my chicken, my fish, my beef, whatever. If it's vegetarian, I'll have my vegetarian sources of paneer, of protein. If it's paneer, if it's my rajma, my chana, my dals. After I have my proteins and my fats, I will then have the starch or the grains. This is the flow. So now I could be in a restaurant, I could be on a flight, doesn't matter. The food that I have in front of me, can I at least get the flow right? Now, when it comes to India, a lot of us mix, like we're having a khichdi or a dal and rice or a roti and rice and stuff like that. It's still okay. Let me explain how you're going to work this. Okay, so I have my raws, I have my cooked vegetables. Maybe if I have a rajma or a lentil, I can have 1 or 2 tablespoons first, and then I can have the combination of the starch or the grain with the lentil. So a rajma rice is a great combination, complete protein. A khichdi is a great combination. But this is how I want to do it, especially if I have diabetes, I'm struggling to lose weight. My proportion of my lentils is going to be more than my grain. So I'm still having rice, but my rice quantity is not more than my lentils. So I'm going to cut down the grain and I'm going to have more of the lentils. And mixing it together is still a complete protein. So I can still do it that way. Let's say I'm having continental food. Okay, so I'll have my raws, I'll have my veggies like my broccolis or my stir fries, then I'll have my chicken or my fish, and then I could have my grains. I can mix my grains with the gravy as well, or keep a few vegetables or a few pieces of those chickens to mix it with the grain because I don't want to eat a plain grain. But believe me, what I've realized personally from doing this and a lot of people who have done this, when you start eating with a flow, most of us don't need the grain. I'm not saying you got to skip it. Your quantity of grain would reduce because you're filling yourself up first with fiber, then with protein. So really, you're not going to have too much of space for the grain. I'm not saying you're going to omit the grain. I love my grains. I need my carbohydrates. I'm going to have it. But what I've realized by eating with the flow, my quantity of my carbohydrates have reduced because I filled up on the good carbohydrates. Okay, now let me explain the science. Okay, first let me finish the full flow. Okay, so what's going to happen is my raws, my cooked vegetables, my protein sources, whether it's veg, non-veg, and then my grains. Now, if you're diabetic, if you have insulin resistance, if you're struggling to lose weight, right after your meal, you're going to walk for 10 minutes. Like we've been promoting this for the longest time. 10 minutes of not a brisk walk, but a gentle walk. Plan a phone call. So I usually plan to call home or I have a client call. So I know immediately after my meal, there's a call planned. So I will take that call walking. Now, if you're not diabetic or you don't have a weight problem and everything's good, you can choose the option of sitting in a Vajrasana position. You can sit in a Vajrasana position for 4 to 5 minutes, and then you can choose to do a gentle walk if you want. Okay? Now, let's say by chance you were not able to sit in Vajrasana and you were not able to do the 10-minute walk. Then at least within an hour after your meal, within 45 minutes to an hour after your meal, I need you to have some physical activity. Okay? You don't want to be doing jumping jacks right after your meal. But 30 to 45 minutes after that, probably do 10 to 15 jumping jacks, 10 to 15 squats if you can, maybe 5 push-ups, or simply walk for 10 minutes. I need activity to happen in that 45 minutes to an hour after your meal. Now let's get straight into the science, okay? Why the apple cider vinegar? We said it's a prebiotic, but apple cider vinegar today, we know that science shows us that apple cider vinegar increases the uptake of glucose from your blood. Why have we put this flow together? Is it only for diabetics? No, it's for you and me and everyone. I follow the flow. The grace of God, I don't have any medical conditions right now, but I'm still going to do it. Why? Metabolic health. What is metabolic health? The pace at which I age. Today, most people are aging way faster than they should. Inflammation in the body. Most people have inflammation. Inflammatory diseases are caused by inflammation. What are some examples of inflammatory diseases? From cancer to Alzheimer's to Parkinson's to diabetes, to cardiovascular issues, to strokes. All of these are inflammatory diseases. If I can keep my metabolic health optimal, my inflammation comes down. The health of my hair, my skin, my energy levels, my muscle tone, everything is dependent on metabolic health. How long I may live is destiny, and then there's, of course, how well we look after ourselves. The better my metabolic health, the longer I'm going to live a healthier life. It's as simple as that. It is your metabolic health. Now, blood glucose. Every time we eat, our sugar levels spike up. That's normal. But if my sugar levels keep spiking up too high, and then I have a crash, and then it spikes up again, and I have another crash. Let me explain this with a simple example of when you have a heavy lunch, carbohydrates, everything. And immediately after your lunch, you start feeling sleepy. You're in a meeting, your eyes are closing. This is because all of the blood flow is moving from your brain to your stomach to break down the immense amount of carbohydrate dump in your system, which has caused your blood sugar levels to rise. So your blood sugar levels rise, your pancreas produces insulin. Insulin pulls down your blood sugar levels. Now you have a crash. And that's why you feel so tired. This is okay once in a while, but this sugar fluctuation all the time out of control blood sugar spikes is creating inflammation. It can lead to diabetes. It can lead to type 2 to insulin resistance. It can make your diabetes worse if you have diabetes. It will increase your fat gain in the abdominal area. So you see, metabolic health is everything. And this flow, yes, while it can help diabetics, cancer patients, and everyone else, it is primarily built on the fundamentals of metabolic health. So by eating in this flow, I'm not going to allow spikes of blood. Now let's picture it this way. I'm eating my vegetables. So let's go back to the science. So the ACV, while it works as a prebiotic stomach acid, ACV stimulates your muscle. Because it stimulates your muscle, the uptake of glucose from your blood is going to be more efficient. So I've eaten the meal. I have blood sugar in my blood. My levels rise. If my muscles are stimulated, they can uptake that glucose out of my blood. And that's how my blood sugar levels come down quickly. But if I'm sedentary and I'm eating the wrong way, my blood glucose levels are going to be high for a long time. So ACV number 1 for that and several other functions. Spices for the brain and inflammation. 2, I put in the veggies first, the raws and the veggies first, because as that digests, we produce a gel when we break down plant cellulose. This gel lines my intestinal walls. So after I eat that, the protein again is doing this. And then I put in the carbohydrate. So now the carbohydrate is not going to seep directly into my bloodstream, causing an immediate spike, because I'm lined with a mucosal gel produced when vegetables digest or raws digest. Now, let's say I ate the carbohydrate first. There's going to be a carbohydrate dump straight into my bloodstream, and my blood sugar levels spike right away. So we're not saying don't eat the carbs. We're just saying change the flow. So let's say we're in a cafe right now and I want to have a cookie. Okay, that cookie, if I eat it on an empty stomach, it's going to create an immediate spike in my blood sugar levels. But what if, example, I had a handful of nuts before the cookie? It's going to change the way my blood sugar levels rise. I can still have the cookie, but I've corrected the flow, which is why it is so important for us to understand the flow. Waking up in the morning and putting sugar straight into your body, a cup of tea with sugar straight into your body, detrimental. So now, why do we walk immediately after the meal? Remember the ACV, it stimulated your muscle. Now by walking, okay, I start using my muscles, very gentle walk. Because I've started using my muscles are already stimulated with the ACV. The blood sugar, the glucose in my blood is going to quickly be taken up by my muscles. So my muscles are going to take up the glucose in my blood, allowing for a smaller, shorter spike of my blood sugar levels. And that is how people with type 2 diabetes reverse their diabetes, by reducing the overall load on the body, reducing the overall load on the pancreas. So if you have insulin sensitivity issues, it's going to improve with the way and the flow that you eat. Of course, we want to eat nutritious food, all of that stuff. Y'all all know that. But today we're just talking about a simple flow. So I'm on a holiday right now. I eat what I want, but I will maintain my flow. And if I want to have that dessert, my dessert is never going to be on an empty stomach, and it's never going to be in between meals. The best time for my dessert is actually now going to be after my meal, because I've already lined my system and there's not going to be a carbohydrate sugar dump. Digestion is going to be way, way slower because I've got fiber, which is taking time to break down. Plant cellulose, protein It's slowing it down. So there's also the right way. Now think of everyone who has those late night desserts and jumps straight into bed. Weight gain, fat gain, blood sugar levels, acidity, it's a mess. You're supposed to be sleeping, but you've created a carbohydrate sugar dump in your body. It's going to affect every part of your metabolism, every part of your metabolic. So the problem is not the dessert. The problem is the time that you eat it, the quality and the quantity. So yes, of course, I can do these things if I follow the flow. So now, like I said, let's say you miss your 10-minute walk, at least in an hour. It's very important. Why do your doctors ask you to do a pre-fasting blood sugar test and 2 hours later? Because in that 2 hours after your meal, it is very important that your glucose spike comes down and stays stable. Unlike a diabetic where it will go down and then come up again, out of control. All of these affect your weight, health, cognitive health, every single thing in the body. So by just understanding this flow, you can be anywhere. Now let's talk about fruits, because fruits are best digested on an empty stomach. We know that in Ayurveda, and I like the concept in Ayurveda. But again, if I can have my fruit with my nuts, I am not allowing a major spike. This is especially for diabetics, especially for diabetics. Diabetics can have their fruits, although if you are severely diabetic, I recommend that you do not have fruits for at least 1 to 2 weeks until you rebalance your blood sugar levels and then slowly introduce one fruit at a time, your low GI fruits, and then move eventually with pairing. So if I'm eating a fruit today, I had grapes in the morning. I had my almonds, my walnuts, and my grapes. I had the grapes first and then my almonds and walnuts immediately. So now the beauty is I've not created a spike. When the spike of your blood sugar levels are high continuously, what happens next? Cravings. Because you have a crash, now the body wants more energy. It's not going to ask you for fiber. It's going to ask you for sugar and carbohydrates. So a lot of people's cravings can actually be fixed with the flow. If you follow this flow, like today I'm having lunch at office. I didn't carry my apple cider vinegar. No big deal. I'm going to make sure I follow step number 2, which is the flow of how my food gets into my system. So you see, you don't have to become so strict with this. But if you're suffering with problems, try to get the apple cider vinegar lunchtime and dinner time. It is therapeutic if you can do it. Get this out of your mind that apple cider vinegar burns fat. No, it doesn't. But indirectly, because you have the flow right, there are lesser spikes, lesser crashes. Yes, you are going to lose weight. You are going to burn fat. Your metabolic health is going to get better if you follow the flow. So this is how the flow works. And we have a nighttime ritual. Again, what's my nighttime ritual? Phones off 1 hour before bed. Not been too good with that lately because I've had a lot of ad hoc calls. But if not 1 hour, at least 30 minutes. Before 30 minutes, what can I do? I can read a book. I can do my gratitude journal. I can just meditate or reflect. I just like doing deep breathing. Of late, I've been watching a little bit of stand-up comedy before bed just to laugh. And that's it. 15 minutes before my bed, a little bit of alternate nostril breathing or left nostril breathing, prayer time, and off to bed. Have that 1 hour sacred time to prepare you for better sleep. What you do in that 1 hour will determine the quality of your sleep at night. And this is the UK lifestyle flow. You can choose the asanas, you can choose the pranayama that you want to do in the morning, you want to do it at night. But when it comes to food, try this. It suits most people. We already have hundreds and hundreds of people who are following the flow. And their feedback is phenomenal. From Luke, I don't eat that much, to Luke, I'm not craving sweet after my meal, to Luke, I feel light and not hungry for 4 to 5 hours after my meal. Proper digestion, proper assimilation of nutrients, metabolic health and spikes controlled. The future of health is your metabolic health, everything. You can take any anti-aging pill in the world, anti-aging creams. It is not going to work better than you focusing on your glucose spikes, which is metabolic health. So now that you've understood the flow, it's very simple. Tina's going to have the PDF document sent to each and every one of you. And we'll also have this recorded video sent to you all. This is a way of life. Let's say your kids are moving off to university or moving into a hostel. You may not be able to have control over the kind of food, but you still have control over the flow. I want to go out and have some junk food today. I'm going to enjoy it, but I am going to make sure that I try to have something good before I put in the bad stuff. So at least the metabolic spikes, the glucose spikes are going to be minimum. That's why in my office bag, that you can see in the corner, there's always going to be nuts, seeds, something in that if I want to enjoy something bad on the side, I'm going to first have those nuts and seeds. So I keep the flow. We're not here to tell you that you should live an extreme life and not have junk at all and all of that stuff. Absolutely not. So it's the same thing with alcohol. You enjoy your weekend alcohol. Have you lined your stomach? I'm a fan of having carrot sticks, cucumber sticks, celery sticks before. I don't drink, I don't enjoy it once in a way. But if I do that, I encourage my patients to do that. Line the stomach. Because if you put alcohol straight into an empty stomach, it's a sugar dump into your system. You are going to have a spike. So there's always the right way of doing it and there's the wrong way of doing it. I hope all of you enjoyed this session and I hope all of you will realize I'm a fan of self-realization. What does that mean? Don't wait for other people to do it to tell you how good it is. You do it, see how you feel. Realize that, wow, I feel incredible and wow, I can do this no matter where I am. That is what self-realization is. It's one of the most powerful ways of learning. Have a great day, everyone, and thank you for your time.